Hey everyone, and welcome back to Star Wars Rewritten, or should I say the Star Wars Disney Trilogy Rewritten. And we are here at the final episode, episode 9, or not the final episode in the trilogy, episode 9, The Balance Restored. Now, first of all, I would like to say I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and are having a Happy New Year. Yeah. So, title crawl. Yes. Uh, my computer's a little old, so yeah, the whole putting actually a title crawl in, yeah, no. Right. So, 4 years have passed since the destruction of both the Jedi and Garu bases by the Republic. In this time, the Jedi and Garu have built new training ground and new things, new grounds and homes across the coast of the swamp of on Dagobah. Masters Luke and Almiron agreed that even with this setback they should continue to hold up their treaties they made and, if possible, create new ones. Especially after many planets and systems saw the attacks on Dagobah and Talos as a prelude to the Republic expanding into their sovereign territory, which has seen many of these systems prepare for an attack or war against the Republic. The Sith-controlled Chancellor used every means at her disposal to end the orders by sending Republic ships into systems outside the Republic, but many Republic ships had been lost in the more powerful systems like the Tyon and Dulver sectors. With the short border war into the Hutt-controlled space, with the Republic's forces focusing their attentions outside Republic space, various criminal gangs or groups and scavengers took the opportunity to attack planets inside Republic space. So after less than 2 years, even with Sith influence, the Senate voted to stop all operations outside the Republic space and end the campaign against the Jedi and the Garu. Darth Damnos and his Sith kept training new acolytes in the old Jedi Temple and have begun to build hidden defences in and around the temple, slowly turning it into a fortress. Luke, Almiron and various people from both orders are in the main control room in Dagobah discussing their next move, knowing now that they need to begin long-term plans to protect not only the orders and the systems they've aligned themselves with, but also the planets and independent systems outside the Republic. Ray humorously suggests that it sounds like they need their own Republic. Luke is extremely cautious of that idea, as not only would it take many years to create, but they could end up building just another empire or worse. But Almiron is intrigued by the idea as a new coalition of planets outside the Republic would keep in check any plans the Senate may have about expansion or the use of any Republic force outside Republic space. This leads to much debate on the idea, with most Jedi being against it, but most Garu being for it, which shows the ideological division between the two orders. Yes. Sorry, sometimes pages get stuck together and you sit and trying to get them apart. I thought that had happened, but it didn't. So that was... Anyway. Right. Yes, I brought plenty of coffee and water, so I should be able to get burned through this, Darth Damnos orders Lord Furcus to Geonosis to commandeer super battle droids and destroyers from the disused factories to increase the defences at the temple. Then orders Lady Katja to visit the planets in the Braxak sector, as he has heard of remnants of Empire forces hiding out there, and if possible recruit them and return them to Korriban. A few days have passed since the discussion of a new republic, and Anakin comes into the control room saying he has more data collected from the Senate surveillance devices, complaining that it's getting harder to land on Coruscant, and gives the data to Padme, who says to Rose Agaru that they have many more days of going through data. Anakin then asks Rey how his ship is, and Rey smiles back saying, "Your ship?" Yeah, so just a nice little play there, a little bit of humour. The Chancellor is in her office with Senator Lando and the Senator of Naboo and a couple of others. They have just finished their discussion about new mining rights when Lando asks if there is any truth to the rumour that the Sith have returned, and they were actually behind the attacks in the Senate. The Chancellor is surprised for a second, but recovers quickly and responds she hadn't even heard the rumour, let alone have heard of any evidence. As they are walking outside the Chancellor's office, Lando turns to the Senator of Naboo and says, "Her reaction tells me the rumour has truth to it." The Senator of Naboo says, "If it is true and we can no longer fully trust the Chancellor, what can we do?" Lando says, "We start getting to support to elect a new Chancellor in case she is aligned with the Sith, and we must do it quietly, in secret, as we don't want to end up like the last senators who supported the Jedi." And we all know what happened in episode 2. And if you don't know what happened in episode 2, you should go back and watch it now. In fact, you should go back and probably watch episode 1 and then episode 2, and then we'll all be caught up together. Lord Frickus, I'm going to have to change his name. It's way too easy to say a different word. Yes. Lord Frickus is on Geonosis with 20 heavily armed acolytes and some personnel loading people. They're loading droids, onto 3 ships they've brought, when a contingent of Geonosians show up to demand they stop what they are doing, as it could lead to the Republic attacking and destroying them once again. But Lord Frickus and the acolytes kill them all and finish loading their ships. Yes, he's not one to make idle chit chat, is Lord Frickus. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought I might have jumped a page. That's one of the problems when you're using pen and paper. Sometimes you think you've anyway. Almiran and Latrell are on Cassel in. Oh, I'm going to butcher this good time. Casse, Klasse, Afimora. Classe Afimora. They're on that planet, finalising an alliance between Classe Silsa, Csilla, and Mobus, with the Garu being the protectors of all the 3 planets. Almiran gives a stirring speech about how these 3 planets and their alliance are the beginning of a new confederacy that will one day rival the Republic, and the leaders agree to Almiran's terms. Foreshadowing. Luke introduces Rey to her first Padawan, a young man called Finn, and then asks her to go to Geonosis as he has heard there was an attack there, and to investigate and if possible lay the groundwork for a treaty with Geonosis. Almiran and Latrell are leaving Classe on their ship. Latrell asks Almiran if Luke and the Jedi will be part of this new confederacy, and Almiran thinks for a moment and says, "I know his answer would be no if I did. Luke wants the Jedi to have an auxiliary role in the galaxy, as he believes that is the best way to protect it, and that is a valid goal, but it is also short-sighted, as in the long term, to protect the galaxy, we must be in control of law and defence of all planets in the new confederacy, or the Republic to secure peace through order. Yes, we've heard that before in history, haven't we? Latrell asks, so will we be allies of the Jedi in the future Confederacy? And Marin answers, I hope we will always be allies with the Jedi. We have mutual goals, though many years from now, if and when the Confederacy is ever completed, that is a possible future that I cannot see. Until then, they are our allies and friends. Yes. Lady Katja is on Kali, talking with the leader of the Kalish and an old ex-Empire General, Maldes. As they talk, Katja learns that the Empire forces who came there after the Empire fell freed the Kalish from their slave masters, the Yamri, Y-A-M little thing R-I-I. And so the Empire forces were given a home there. Once the leader of the Kalish leaves, Katja explains to Maldes Damonus' plan to rebuild the Empire, and that any of the Empire forces here who want to join the New Order should make their way to Korriban, where they will be given all the resources they need to help create the new Empire. Maldes can guarantee the old guard, because remember this is still 30 over, maybe close to 40 years after things, so a lot of these people are in their 60s and 70s and stuff. So, you know, while they might be, you know, ready to get down into it again, even if the body isn't willing, anyway, but the children of the Empire forces, of course, you know, the Empire fell, there'll be men and women, of course, you know, they'll have kids, so like, you know, we're talking about a generational Empire forces here on Kili. But Maldes can't guarantee. The children of the Empire forces may take more convincing, and Lady Katja says, I'll take care of that. Yes. You know, because you're not going to have the same thing over again. You know, you're not going to have the same old empire. It's now, you know, they're going to be different. You're going to have to try and convince the kids of the empire to go and help rebuild a new empire. You know, I want it to be that way. Rey and Finn land on Geonosis, and soon after they enter an old chamber, are surrounded by guards and confronted by the leader, who thinks they are with the Sith who attacked because they are carrying lightsabers. Yes, I've something here. You see, I have a little arrow going down here, and I can't remember why. Yes. Rey is able. I'm going to try and go through this and not bugger up, but I think I have buggered up somewhere. Yes, I've actually got it now. I know why the little arrow was there. Yes, I'm sorry. That took me a couple of minutes to remember, because like once I actually write this whole thing out. Well, this isn't the first version. There's two more versions down there. You know, I write out a basic thing, then another. And then I go through this, but sometimes even in the third draft, I'll see something that I want to change, and I put a wee arrow or something and change it, and then I start putting the pictures and stuff together, and then I come back to making it, and I've forgotten what the arrow was for, so I apologise for that. Yes. So we'll start this again. Yes, I probably should just cut this bit out, but you know, I make mistakes. We all do, so you know, why hide them? So, let's start this little bit again. Rey and Finn land on Geonosis. Who knew? And soon as they enter the old chamber, are surrounded by guards and confronted by the leader, who thinks they are with the Sith who attacked because they are carrying lightsabers. And Finn says, so no chance to lay a foundation for a treaty. Maybe we should have brought a gift, maybe some flowers. And Rey answers, your comic timing needs work. Ha! But Rey is able to convince the leader that they are not the Sith, and they agree to leave quickly. As they leave, Rey says, now the Sith have a droid contingent, but not enough to take over a planet, let alone the Republic. Finn responds, they attack the Senate once, maybe they plan to finish the job, you know, to have the same fate as the other senators. And Rey says it's possible, but there's definitely no chance of a treaty with Geonosis. And Finn answers, like I said, we should have brought flowers. And Rey laughs. You know, I want it to be quite a tension-filled moment, but I never thought Finn had a character in the sequel trilogy. You know, he spent, let's be honest, he spent 3 movies running about going, Rey, Rey, Rey. Yeah, so I wanted his character, and yes, you have to pretend he's like 15, 16 in this. I only have a picture of John Boyega as he is now, so you have to pretend Finn is like 15, 16 in this movie. You know, and I want him to be, you know, lighter, you know, have an actual personality, which he didn't actually have in the sequel trilogy. So, yeah. Just like I've built up Rey over these 3 movies, I want to start building up Finn. You know, so there's actually characters and not just empty vessels that there was in the sequel trilogy and stuff. But anyway, we're getting off on a topic here. We'll get back to the movie. Darth Daminos returns from Korriban, and since he has been away for some time, wants updates. Lady Katja says it took over a week of persuading the remaining old forces on Kali to go to Korriban, and even more to gain influence with the new generation, and that their decisions will be made shortly. Lord Furcus details the collection of the droids, the attack, and the droids are being serviced and will be soon ready to be positioned all over the old Jedi Temple. Though pleased with the outcomes, he admonishes Lord Furcus about an open attack that could bring unwanted notice at this time. Rey and Finn arrive back on Dagobah and enter the main control room to find many people waiting to hear the report. Rey tells them what happened, and it causes much speculation. And Luke says even though they now know the Sith are behind everything, they have no hard proof to take to the Senate to convince them of what is actually happening, so they must remain cautious. At the Jedi Temple, Darth Daminos is talking with the Chancellor, who is worried because the Senate is not cohesive anymore, with many of the senators going back to their old ways of, you know, they're politicians, so scumbags, you know, always looking out for themselves, wanting to make more money and power, and, you know, being scumbags. And she has even heard a rumour the Sith have returned. Darth Daminos says it is her job to keep the Senate focused on, you know, being anti-Jedi and together, etc. And so she should return and do so. After the Chancellor leaves, Lady Katja enters and asks why they just don't kill the entire Senate. Yes, Lady Katja may be just as bloodthirsty as Lord Furcus. Darth Daminos explains that a fractured Senate is good for them at this time. Just the way, like, when they were trying to pass the Senate bill, a cohesive Senate was good for them then. Yes. Lady Casca then asks why give her, the Chancellor, the task to try and make them, you know, cohesive again, and Darth Daminos answers that her usefulness is near its end and it will keep her busy until then. I don't like the Chancellor's odds of getting out of this. No. In the control room in Dagobah, Padme and Rose, another character, enter with success in their faces. Anakin asks why they were all summoned to a meeting in the middle of the night. Padme explains that after weeks of going through the last data collection from the surveillance device, she and Rose have finally found proof and insert a chip into the main console. On the holographic display, we see Darth Daminos talking with the Chancellor, congratulating her on helping the Sith, and the Chancellor saying the next time they talk it will be at the temple. As the hologram fades, the room is filled with discussion, but Luke brings order. As the night turns into morning, which will be a collage of different people and groups talking with, Star Wars music in the background, very dramatic. People will be, at each other or something like that. Anyway, once it's done, Luke and Almiron explain the plan to the fully assembled Jedi and Garu. Luke begins saying that when the next full Senate is held in 4 days' time, Padme Rose will return to the device under the Senate and transmit all the proof they have gotten on the Sith and the Chancellor's betrayal to all the Senators' repulsor pods, their offices, and all terminals connected to the Senate. Yes. Sorry, I'm just making my foot more comfortable. Not that you care, but Almiron then continues explaining that after the message is sent, the Senate will be in chaos, as will much of the Republic forces, as every senator will want protection and stuff. They want to secure their own individual, interests, because politicians, scumbags, and yeah, that's just pushing my seat back now. Anyway. Yes, and that chaos, they will use that chaos to their advantage, and so they will be attacking the Sith at the old Jedi Temple when all the chaos is going on. The Jedi and Garu, they will send 20 Jedi and 20 Garu to storm the temple with Anakin and 3 other pilots in different ships, to be in orbit when this signal is given. They will then drop all the Anakin and the pilots will drop all the Sith and Garu off, and when it's done, they will all leave together on the same ships. Luke adds that they don't have much time, and they should prepare, as not only will at least 2 Sith be there, because remember, they've always been told the rule of 2, so they don't know there's actually 3 Sith, and more, but they also know that there's droids there, and there might be other surprises. So, yes. Lady Katya informs Darth Daminos that the first group of old Imperial forces have landed on Korriban. Darth Daminos says that's good, then instructs Lady Katya to delete all transmissions from the database, and that no more transmissions are to be sent or received at the temple. Basically, they're doing a clean sweep for some reason. Padme, Rose, and a Garu arrive on Coruscant as refugees make their way to the Senate building. Now, sorry about that. Anyway. Yes, so many of you might be wondering why I made the Jawa. There's a reason for this, but many people might be thinking why I made the Jawa a Garu Jedi and not a normal Jedi, straight cut and stuff. Well, let's be honest, Jawas are, they nick a lot of stuff, that isn't actually theirs. So I think, being a gay Jawa, maybe the gay as well, I don't know. Being a Garu, a grey Jedi, is the best moral and ethical place to put a Jawa. Right. The Chancellor begins a session talking about coming together as one in one voice, yada yada. The usual platitudes you hear from politicians. Did I mention politicians are scumbags? Or yeah. Then Anakin, Luke and Rey enter the lower orbit of Coruscant with all the others. A beeper goes off on Padme's communicator and she sends the evidence. The Chancellor is speaking and she sees many of the senators watching their monitors, and then one of her aides show her what they are watching and chaos erupts. Yes. Anakin says he's received Padme's signal and the 4 ships land at the different parts of the temple. Darth Damanos, who is meditating, turns to Lord and Lady and tells them they are about to be attacked and looks at the security monitors. Lord Firkus and Lady Katja take 20 acolytes each and head off in separate directions as Darth Damanos orders the remaining acolytes to split into 2 groups and face the other 2 groups, because there's 4 groups of Jedi and Garu, so there has to be 4 groups. Yeah. You know what Luke, Almarin, Latrell and Owen break off from their groups and head for Darth Damanos after seeing him in an upper level. We see Jace, Johnson, Gianna and 2 Garu taking on Lord Firkus, and Rey, Finn and another group of mixed Jedi and Garu taking on Lady Katja. After battling various droids, Luke, Almarin, Latrell and Owen enter the Jedi meeting room where Darth Damanos is waiting. Darth Damanos introduces himself, then taunts Almarin about Arren, but attacks Luke with a subtle flick of his hand, sends a blade from the wall into Owen's back, taking him out of the fight. Now, I want to make a note here, because I actually made it here. Note that while we're focusing on our 3 main groups, in the background you'll have the Jedi, Garu, acolytes and the droids will all be fighting in the background. So it's not just 3 scenes of the main groups fighting, it'll also be everyone else fighting in the background. You're going to have to use your imagination here. I really couldn't draw you it because I can't draw, and if I just use footage from the sequel movies or prequel movies, you'll be wondering why are these people fighting when he's talking about other people. So yeah, you'll just use the old imagination. Right, in the fight against Lady Katja, 1 Garu is killed, Finn injured and Rey loses an eye, but she does kill the Sith. We span over the Jedi, Garu, acolytes and droids fighting. We see in the other group, we see one of the Garu Jedi, Gianna, loses an arm, but Johnson kills the Sith. Darth Damanos incapacitates Latrell by force pulling off her false leg. Don't laugh. Yes, I'm grinning a bit because I think it would be a good scene. She's getting ready to fight, and the leg comes off and she topples over. I just think it'd be good. Okay, might also be a little funny. Not funny. So she throws her saber to Luke, and Almarin picks up Owen's, and then Almarin and Luke both attack Darth Damanos. The fight is tough, but Luke allows Darth Damanos to cut his shoulder, opening the way for Almarin to get the kill of Darth Damanos. The Jedi and Garu carry the injured and dead into the waiting ships as the temple starts to burn, as many of the droids have burst into flames and set the place on fire. So the Jedi temple is burning to the ground now. Yes. So they all get to the waiting ships as the temple burns down around them. On Dagobah, we see Luke and Almarin talk about the future. They agree there may still be Sith somewhere out there, Luke then wishes Almarin good luck with his confederacy, but just suggests he not lose his path in its creation. Almarin thanks him and wishes Luke and the Jedi good luck in the future as well. Now, this is, there's two more paragraphs, right? You see, told you it would happen. There, right. With the pages, I mean. Right, so I have two paragraphs left. The problem is, I'm not 100% sure in which order I want to put them, so I'm going to read them out and then we can discuss which order to put them. So, either this will be the last paragraph. We see all the Jedi and Garu at a service for their lost friends on Dagobah. You know, we're having the funeral pyre, you know, because that's the way they deal with their bodies that don't just disappear. They burn them, you know, very Viking-like. So there's going to be funeral pyres, you know, the way Game of Thrones stole it from, you know, the Return of the Jedi, you know. I'm not saying they did, but so we see all the Jedi and Garu at a service for the lost friends, as they burn, and we see all the injured. You know, Rey will have a false eye, Gianna will have a new arm, you know, etc., etc. So we'll see the effects of what happened on all the people, you know. Or this could be the last scene in the movie. On Carbon, Darth Danos' Force Ghost appears beside a cloaked figure who asks if the plan succeeded. And Darth Danos says yes, the Jedi and Garu are completely banned. The Senate is in chaos, so, you know, the ban is not going to get lifted for years, if ever, because they're all going to have different things. Much of the, you know, because of what the Republic did, the outside sectors are very, you know, they're wary of the Empire or the Republic coming out with their forces again, so they're all up and hyped in battle mode. So basically, the Sith have fractured the galaxy into little bits, you know, chaos, you know, etc. And with all evidence pointing to, thanks to all the Sith dying in the temple and etc., it's proof that the Sith are now completely gone to whatever after the Senate calms down. So it's quite a buggered up situation in the galaxy at the minute. Good says the cloaked figure, now the true rebuilding of the Sith can begin. Yes. So I didn't know which way to put them two last. I don't know if do we want the burning of the Jedi to be last, or do we want the Darth Danos was talking to this cloaked figure to be last? I think the way I have it now is better, because it's, you know, I think ending on the funeral pyres and stuff would be a bit of a downer, whereas if we end on Darth Danos talking to this cloaked figure, it's like, ooh, what's going on? What's going to happen? You know, because when I was writing this, I did have an idea for an actual another 3 movies. You know, so there would be, this wouldn't be the end, there'd be an episode 10, 11, 12, set maybe 50 to 100 years in the future. You know, because I would like to see what would happen, you know, when, well, maybe 30 to 40 years, you know, because I still want to use Rey, but in the future she would be a full master, you know. Luke would be dead, you know, he's not getting any younger, so she might even be running the Jedi Order, you know. Finn would be a master, have trained many Padawans himself, you know, and really generation lead the next 3 movies, you know, because this is the 3 movies where I had the change where the old guard are changing over to the new guard, you know, etc., and the Solo kids, the Skywalker kids, so they would be the lead factors in the next series. You know, it's what Disney tried to do and epically failed at it. You know, because I spent this building characters that could lead into the future, whereas Disney didn't. So yeah, that's it. That's all three movies. That's the sequel redid, rewritten even. Uh, so let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, the direction it took, the direction the characters took. Did I do well with the characters? You know, I think I said that just 2 seconds ago, and maybe I'm losing my mind. That actually might be true. I mean, like, who isn't these days? But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I shall see you all in whatever I do next. I have many plans again. I might even just write out I might actually just do that. You know, do 10, 11, 12 just to see where it goes, just for fucking fun if no one wants to see it anyway. But I've also other videos I want to make, but again, you know, real life versus, you know, other things you actually like to do. So yeah, anyway, enough talking. Comment, blah blah blah. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.